on the Sunday after Christmas. The last Sunday they was to play in Longpuddle Church, so they didn't know it then. As you may know, the players formed a very good band, almost as good as the Mellstock Parish players, and that's saying a great deal. Well, this Christmas they've been out to one rattling rally after another, and had got next to no sleep at all. Then came the Sunday after Christmas, their fatal day. It was so mortal cold they could hardly sit in the gallery, for though the congregation in the body of the church had a stove to keep off the frost, the players in the gallery had nothing at all. So Nicholas said at morning service, when 'twas freezing an inch an hour, "Please the Lord, I won't stand this numbing cold no longer. We'll have something in our insides to keep us warm this afternoon, if it costs a king's ransom." So he brought a gallon of hot beer and brandy with him to the church that afternoon, and by keeping it well wrapped up in Timothy Thomas's base vial bag, it kept drinkably warm till they needed it, which was just a thimbleful in the absolution, another at the end of the creed, and the remainder at the beginning of the sermon. Well, when they'd had their last pull, they all felt quite comfortable and warm. And as the sermon went on, most unfortunately, 'twas a long one that afternoon, they fell asleep, every man jackal. Now, 'twas a very dark afternoon, and by the end of the sermon, all you could see of the inside of the church was Parson's 2 candles alongside of him in the pulpit, and his speaking face behind him. Sermon being ended, at last, Parson give out the evening hymn, but no choir set about sounding up the tune. People began to turn their heads to learn the reason why. Then Leigh Limpet, a boy who sat in the gallery, he nudged Timothy and Nicholas and says, "Begin! Begin!" Nicholas started up. "Hey, what?" And it being so dark and his head so muddled, he thought that they was at the party they played at the night before. And away went bow and fiddle at the Devil Among the Tailors. Favourite jig of our neighbourhood at that time. The rest of the band, being of the same mind and nothing doubting, followed their leader with all their strength. They poured out that their tune till the lower bass notes of the Devil Among the Tailors made the cobwebs in the roof shiver like ghosts. Then Nicholas, seeing nobody move, called out in his usual commanding fashion at dances when folks don't know the figures, "Top couples, cross hands. When I make the fiddle squeak on the end, every man kiss his partner under the mistletoe." Well, the boy Levi was so afraid he shot down the gallery stairs and off home like lightning. Parson's hair fair stood on end when he heard the evil tune raging through the church. Thinking the choir had gone mad, he held up his hand saying, "Stop! Stop! Stop! What's all this?" But they never heard him for the noise of their playing. The louder he called, the louder they played. Then the squire came out of his pew, all lined with green baize, where lots and lords and ladies who'd been visiting with him at the house was worshipping with him. And he stood in front of the musicians' gallery, and he shook his fist in the musicians' faces. "What? In this reverent edifice? What?" And at last they heard him through the noise of their playing and stopped. Never such an insulting, disgraceful thing. Never. Not if the angels of heaven. Now, he was a wickidish man, the squire was. This time for once he happened to be on the Lord's side. "Not if the angels of heaven shall one of you villainous players ever sound a note in this church again for the insult to me and to my family and to my visitors, and to God Almighty, that you have perpetrated this afternoon." Then the unfortunate band came to their senses and remembered where they were. And lo, 'twas a sight to see Nicholas Puddingham, Timothy Thomas, and John Biles creep down the gallery stairs with their fiddles under their arms, poor Daniel Ornett with his clarinet, and Robert Dowdall with his serpent. Actually, it was Robert Dowdall with his clarinet, and poor Daniel with his serpent. You've got to get these things right, haven't you? All looking as little as ninepins, and out they went. Parson might have forgiven when he heard the truth of it, but Squire would not. That very week he sent for a barrel organ that played 22 psalm tunes. No matter how sinful inclined, you could get to nothing but psalm tunes out of it. He had a really respectable man to turn the winch. And the old players, well, they played no more. I think you can all do something after that, don't you? What shall we have? Yeah, shall we do God Rest You Merry Gentlemen? Yes. It's confusing really because some of us sing the original tune of this as well, but we'll all sing God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. You can all. Another one of the longer carols. Come, hail this glorious morn. No, we won't. We'll do Brightest and Best before. Brightest and Best. Odcombe, which is, do you know where Odcombe is? Anyone not know where Odcombe is? Excellent. Where is it? No, it's, Odcombe it's like, in a way, it's like Longburton, but even more so, because in Odcombe they still sing their local carols. And there's one family that's been singing the carols in harmony on the streets for over 160 years. Different generations of the same family. It's a very special thing. So during the course of 2 nights before Christmas, nowadays it's the 22nd and the 23rd of December, the carolers go round the village and sing to every household. Philippa and I sing with them. I lead the singing nowadays. It's something to do. And it's very special. There's a caller, they have a caller, and he names everyone that you sing to. So it gets out and we sing a song and he knows who lives where, because he talks to the postman. It's true, absolutely true. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Waterfall. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year. That's a pleasure, isn't it? Really, it's mere nothing, honestly. And then we move on to sing somewhere else and we greet Mr. and Mrs. Upton. Wish you a Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year. First year that Philippa and I went out with the Odcombe singers, we had a sort of guided tour of the tradition as we were singing these songs. And we get to the pub. Now, this is a tradition. You need to understand that this is a tradition. The carols started in the church in Upton, then they went to the chapel. And the chapel wasn't, and it really was in the hands, the custodianship of the chapel for a good few years, wasn't it, Philippa?
A good 100 years, I think.
Yes. So they didn't really like the fact that there was a pub in the village. And the caller, when we first went out, was very much a chapel person. And we sang to the pub, but he didn't name them. So, good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Mason's Arms. Anyway, this is Brightest. This is the Odcombe version, the Brightest and Best. La, 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 la.